Let us talk to the pride of both Ireland and Brazil, the one and only Ian Machado Garry. Hello, Ian. How are you? Congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me back on as always.
It's wild. We're in the same location. I remember those chairs from a week ago, so you're still in the same spot.
We're still here. One thing I don't want to do after fights, I've said this, I don't like leaving on the Sunday. It just feels like all this preparation, all this hard work, then you got all the media of fight week, everything that comes along with getting ready for the fight itself, and then it's just get on a plane and go home. It's like, no, let me just bring the energy back down. So yeah, we're still in the same place and we leave soon.
Okay. Well, thank you for giving us some time. I appreciate it. How do you feel now, less than 48 hours removed, about your win over Michael Venom Page? How do you feel about it?
Livid. Absolutely livid.
You said that.
Been done
Why? Why are you livid?
It should have been done in the first round. There should have never been a second. There should have never been a third. There should have been Ian Machado Garry takes his back and subs him unconscious. That's what it should have been. So I've already lost sleep over that. And I just have this burning sensation in my brain that is just I know what it is. It's the competitor in me. It's the perfectionist in me that goes, that was where the fight should have been done and dusted. There shouldn't have been any more time. And now I'm going to push myself to be better and grow and evolve and learn. And I can win and learn, and I can be frustrated even with a win.
And so now, we're approaching 48 hours removed. None of that is subsiding. None of that, like the anger that not finishing. Like, you just beat Michael Venom Page, who only had 2 losses going into this fight. Like, none of that is going away.
No, am I happy with the performance? Yes. Am I happy with the way I performed and the game plan that I set out and stuck to? Yes. But I'm in moments like that, when I've gotten to the position that I know I'm so good in, and I made minimalistic mistakes or errors that I can learn upon and grow upon. For me, that's the most important thing, is to go in there and get that finish. And sure, I won, I got my hand raised, I remain undefeated and all that's great, but I would have loved to have done it with the finish, and that was what I kept seeing, and that's what I expect from myself. There is no one else on this world that is going to be harder on me than me, and I should have finished that fight. So happy, but also frustrated.
How close do you think you were to finishing him?
Super close. I was super close. I was trying to connect. So me and Maya had spoke about a technique when we went hand to hand, and I just couldn't get my left shoulder in the right position to generate the torque and the twist and the squeeze. And I kept trying, and it was so close. And then I switched it, and I just didn't get my hand in the right position. It was all these things that just irritated me. So back to the drawing board. We learn, we grow, and at least I'm happy to go out there and show sides of my grappling, stuff that is fun, that I've been working on, that I'm excited for. I had a very fun fight. I enjoyed what I did. So I went out there, and Demian Maia said it great. He said, you had a lot of balls doing some of the stuff you did. Like, not a lot of people will pull guard in an MMA fight and attack a leg. He was like, you did. I was like, yeah, why not? Like, we're out here to have fun and live our best life and try the techniques. So it was close to being in. It was close to being finished. And that makes it even worse.
And in, like, when you're in that moment, and especially when you have his back and it's in the first round, I was wondering afterwards, like, did you exert too much energy? Did it make you tired in the second round? Was there any sort of adrenaline dump, or maybe even the disappointment of not getting it? Did that bother you in the second? Did that linger?
No, I think you have to live in the moment and be present in fights. Because if you allow a punch, a kick, a submission, a takedown attempt, any of these where they maybe don't go your way or you fail, if you allow them to control your mind, then you are going to lose. You're just going to go downhill from that point because you're hanging on to something that's in the past. Funny enough, it's where I find out that's where MMA and golf, in my mind, they cross over so much. Focus on the next shot. Focus on the shot you're about to take, not the shot you just took. Because if you focus on the last one, whether it was good or bad, You're not focusing on what's happening now.
Mm.
And that's kind of how I approach fighting. It's, all right, sure, I got his back. I got to the perfect position. I had the choke in. He defended it. I went in. I tried to readjust. I didn't get it. Move on. Go to the next. I hit him more. I stayed on his back. I beat him up a little bit. Take the round. Take the win. Go back in and try to do something different.
When the fight was over, before they read the scorecards, what did you think the score was?
29-28, unanimous decision. I think it was pretty obvious I won the first and the third. The second round I gave to him purely especially after watching it back. I gave to him just purely from the last minute. I think up until the last minute, you were giving me the round, but he landed, I think it was 3 good shots towards the end of the round, and there was no real damage from either of us in that round. So for me, I was confident I was getting my hand raised at the end of the fight. I knew I'd won the fight. Me and MVP both knew I won the fight. He was clapping before my hand had been raised because he knew that the two of us together, we both know. We both know who won the dance. We both know who led the dance, and I was in control and I was in charge. And it was pretty obvious to both of us that I won. 29-28 was the right score in my mind.
He could be a tricky puzzle to figure out. He's elusive. He's hard to hit. Now that you have fought Michael Venom Page, how difficult is it to fight him?
So you know what? It wasn't, what was more, so I wrote in my book, Ariel, I don't have it now. I could get it and I'll send it to you at one point. But when we were discussing potentially fighting him, I was like, all right, let me go watch all of the stuff and see how I'm going to visualize this camp. And I wrote the word ball ache down. He's just one of those people that's just going to be a pain in the ass to deal with. Because he loves this in and out motion, he loves this rhythmic pattern of controlling that movement. And what he wants is for someone to make the wrong step. And then he pounces with that points taekwondo, points kickboxing back. Not only that, because he stands so square on and his foot is so pointed sideways, everybody attacks his lead leg. And what he does with that is he blitzes you because your foot is in a bad position of balance when you throw a leg kick, and it looks better for him. So I noticed very, very quickly that he was super intelligent. And I noticed very quickly that there was a lot of things that he waited for before he had success. I have some of the best calf kicks in the entire UFC. I didn't throw one. I didn't throw one because my attitude when I approach a fight is, what is the best way for me to win? How is the best way for me to shut down my opponent? And what's the best way for me to take the most out of them in that position where they're shut down? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not throwing a calf kick puts MVP in a position where he's waiting a bit more. I also stopped my movement. I normally bounce. I'm normally quick on my feet, fast. I planted myself a bit more to not give him that reaction of the forward and back motion that he wants. So what I did was I kind of stalked him a bit. I kept my guard. I kept high. I stayed more planted because to someone like him, that's frustrating and irritating. And then I hit him with some little feints. He was biting on a lot of them. He was still trying to play his game to try make me come out of my plan, but I stuck to the plan. And knowing all that, I found it very easy to deal with him. It's just about capitalizing on the right time and the right shot. And at the end of the day, it's a fight. He wants to have success. I want to have success. And my plan works better than his.
And so at the very beginning of all of this, I said, how do you feel about the fight? You say livid, but you focused on the first round. The body of work, though, are you happy with that?
Yeah, no, I'm happy with the fight. I'm happy with, obviously, I'm happy I'm 15-0. I remain undefeated. I'm 26 years of age, Ariel. I'm breaking records all over the place. It's still insane that I'm in this position right now. I'm livid and frustrated with not getting the finish, but I'm still happy with getting my hand raised. And at the end of the day, that is always the goal. But the competitor inside me isn't fully fulfilled. And there was 3 stats this weekend that I added to my resume that are pretty cool. I have the current longest active win streak in the UFC welterweight division, 8. I am the second ever to go 8-0 in the UFC welter division, second to only Kamaru Usman. And I have broken a record of Connor's as well, which is quite cool. I'm the only UFC Irish fighter to have gone 8-0 in the UFC. So for all of this, like, I'm still happy I win, but I have that frustration in me. And that's the competitor that I believe is it brings the best out of me, and it makes me motivated to go out here and go, right, I need to start finishing some fucking fights now, and I need to be more aggressive, and I need to work on all of these things because I want to be one of the greatest of all time, and I don't want this feeling after a fight that I've won. But at the end of the day, I won. I got my hand raised, and that's really all that matters.
So I'll be honest, I was watching, like I was so glued to the action because I felt like it was a war of attrition. Like both of you guys can end the fight in a moment. We've seen him do crazy things. That flying knee, the first round was riveting. I enjoyed the fight very much, and maybe it's because I know both of you and respect you so much, both of you as fighters, that I was just, to me, it was the second most interesting and biggest fight on the card. And then I was getting texts from people, and I was seeing tweets, and it felt like people were disappointed, being honest. And now they're calling you a wrestler. Oh, you're the Irish Khabib, and I see all this stuff. Do you see that stuff too? And are you baffled? And I chalk it up to maybe like people just not knowing how tough it is to do that to MVP, and maybe because he's new to the UFC, not understanding that like he's only lost twice before and all that stuff. I was a little bit confused by it. Have you seen any of this, and how do you feel about this criticism?
I think, Ariel, I'm at the point in my life where I don't look at criticism. I don't look at what people's opinions are. I sat here Saturday night after the fight. I ordered pizzas. I sat down with Demian Maia. I sat down with all of my team, Diego, everyone. We watched the fight back, and we all spoke about it. But it's little moments like straight after the fight, I went backstage, finished my medical, and I see Gilbert Burns, and he's talking to Maya, and I come up and I give him a massive big hug, and I'm like, dude, I'm pissed. And he was like to me, I knew you were going to grapple. He's like, I knew you were going to do it this fight. I'm like, dude, I'm so annoyed that I didn't get that finish. And then I'm talking to Gilbert Burns and Demian Maia about little adjustments that if I find myself in that position again of how to maybe finish the fight in that position, I then go back to my dressing room and I see Charles Oliveira, and he's like, who cares? You won the fight. It doesn't matter. You won the fight. You got your hand raised. You're 15-0. Who cares? So what if you didn't get the finish? And it's that energy. It's those people that matter. It's those people that matter, not people online. Criticism online isn't something that I have time for. My family is here. I'm sat down, and me and Damien are going through like technical breakdowns of the takedown that I had in the third round. And he's like, look how perfect that is. I put my head in his ribs. I turned the corner, took his back, and just dominated. It was clinical and it was clean. And from someone who we've not seen grappling from, people are disappointed because they expected this striking war. But it's not kickboxing, it's MMA. I'm an MMA fighter, and I want to be one of the best to ever do it. So I found that this was going to be a time where I could absolutely utilize my jiu-jitsu to go out there and have fun, to prove to myself how good I am at it. And I went out and I enjoyed it. Not satisfied because I didn't get the finish, and it's still going to hurt me. I'm going to repeat it because it matters. But I'm satisfied with getting my hand raised. So any criticism in the world means nothing to me unless you're someone that sweats with me on the mat, that is able to talk to me, knowing everything that I've been working on. Criticism isn't something that I have time for.
Will Maia be in your corner here on out?
Do you know what, dude? I think he's so amazing and he's so talented. I would love to have him in my corner for the rest of the time. I think the work we can do together, the way I can evolve with him, and the way I can the way I believe I can showcase Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to the world, training with him, it makes all the world. It means everything to me. So yeah, I would love him in my corner for the rest of the time.
Okay. By the way, going back to pre-fight, you mentioned this at the press conference and a little bit afterwards, the whole spying thing. Do you feel 100% certain that this was like not someone trying to troll you or bait you? No. This was legit. And do you think he had anything to do with it, MVP, or do you think a coach was just kind of going rogue and reaching out and trying to find information?
I highly doubt MVP's jiu-jitsu coach has $10,000 to offer for information. I think it's a team thing. It's a collective. We chatted about this. You think you can get that? Go find out. Offer the money and let's see what we can get back. At the end of the day, Diego Lima runs such a tight-knit team, such a loyal, bonded team in Shoot the Box that offering thousands of dollars to people who need it, they still turn it down and say, no, I'm too loyal to my team and I'm too loyal to everyone around me. And that's more powerful than anything. I fully believe that was the perfect example I needed in my life to prove that Shoot the Box was going to be my home forever. That even when someone tries to come in, offer thousands to someone who I don't even know that well, and he still went, no, I am loyal to my team, I'm loyal to my coach, I'm loyal to my friends. I will not do something like this because God sees everything. And if I let this temptation into my life, then he will ruin it. And I thought that was very powerful. I thought that was very, very special. And I'm very grateful to the guy who said no.
And when you were backstage, when you saw Michael, did you address this with him at all?
It didn't need to be said. Did he deny it on the stage? Did he sit there and say, that's not true? No, he went, anyway. He didn't deny it. It's the truth. So.
Fair enough. I did see the photo that was, the video of you and your incredible son, who became a star in his own right over the week with his imitations of Poatan and Max Holloway. I mean, just unbelievable. By the way, how long does it take for you to teach him that? It's unbelievable. That video.
So here's the funny one, right? Here's the funny one. I've taught him the Connor. I've taught him the Poatan. My mate, my best friend, and my cameraman, they told me right down on that spot, they were like, we taught him one this morning. And I was like, no way. And they were like, ask him to do Max Holloway. That's why if you go watch the video, you see my reaction for the first time. I'm like,
wow.
I'm like, no way. He's so smart. You know what kids are like, Ariel? They're sponges. And he just literally pointed down. I was like, no way. We need to find more to teach him. I think it'd be fun to get him to do loads of them, but he's such an amazing gift and an amazing blessing in my life. And yeah, he makes my fight weeks more.
So I mentioned when I saw the video of you and MVP and your son, and I said, this is a pro wrestling term, kayfabe is dead. And what I mean by that is in pro wrestling, I don't know if you know the term, it's like if you're feuding with this guy and then we see, you guys out for a coffee afterwards, then like the story is ruined. Kayfabe is ruined. It's like an old pro wrestling term. And so I was like, wait a second, do these guys? Because I was on this show saying, oh, there's animosity here. There's a beef here. And then I see you guys all chumming it up with your son backstage. So what was it?
MVP was rattled after that press conference. And he literally walked by me and I went, you're a filthy cheat. And he turned to me and went, I tell you what though, you've got a beautiful kid. And my little boy put his hands out to give him a cuddle. And I'm like, all right, go over and give him a cuddle. I'll take you if you want me to. But it's like, I'm not going to, I've always said, like, and I've always been taught, like, never turn down a cuddle. It doesn't matter who it's with, what it is. And if my kid wants to go over and cuddle MVP, fine. Maybe he needs it. But maybe he was spooked and he could sense his energy. But for me, there was still animosity. There was still like, you're a filthy little cheat. I don't like the way you are. But if my son wants to give you a cuddle, then cool. Like, that's the way it is. I'll be there for him to know that he's safe.
Fair enough. I respect that. What do you say to people, by the way, who say that the fight was a draw?
You're full of shit. You need to go back and watch the fight. The first round was mine. You could even argue that, look, here's the thing. There is more of a case to say that I won all 3 rounds than there is to say that there was a draw. Mm-hmm. That's the way I look at it. I mean, first round dominated. There's no arguing. No one in the world's arguing that. Third round, it's pretty obvious I won. Well, I ended up on bottom somehow. It was just a weird exchange of punches. Ended up on bottom. I utilized elbows from the bottom, in tight, dirty. I had the damage when I was off my back. I then went, fuck it, I'm going to stand up. And then I ended up taking him down, getting his back and just dusting him up a little bit. There wasn't a massive amount of damage, but there was absolutely nothing from MVP. So the first and third were clearly mine. Now the second round is the one that you can debate. I will lean and give it towards MVP as a competitor. As someone who was in the fight, I felt like I could have won the second, but even I was leaning towards MVP in that second round. Because the way he finished the round strong, he had 3 good combinations that were the most damage of the round. So I can understand how you'd give him the second. But there was absolutely no basis to sit here and say it was a fucking draw. There was more of an argument to say I won all 3 rounds.
I love the Shavkat call out afterwards. I love that idea, whatever you want to call out idea. I love it.
Look, I love it. I love it. I've trained with Shavkat. I've nothing but respect for Shavkat and everything that he's done. I mean, for someone to be 18-0 and have 18 finishes, it's pretty remarkable. What I don't want is for him to fight anyone else and lose that O. I want to be the guy that if someone's going to take it, let it be me. That's the challenge that I see. And when I look at Shavkat, he's by far the most dangerous guy in the entire division at the moment, other than obviously respect to the champion. But he's the most feared at the moment. 18-0, 18 finishes. We've not seen anyone really cause much trouble. Jeff Neal and him had a great fight back in December or beforehand. But anyway, the point is, that's the opponent I want to look towards. That's the excitement I'm ready for, is fights like him, that build-up, that skill set. Where is he going to try beat me? Is he going to try beat me on the feet, or is he going to try out-grapple me? If so, I need to get better in both areas because I want to be able to beat him at both areas. They're the fights that excite me, and beating someone like Shavkat and taking his O, it excites me, Eric. It gets me hyped.
When you mentioned this afterwards, he was on Twitter saying you must not have remembered your training sessions. Have you seen these comments from him?
I did see one, and I don't know what he's talking about. There was one I remember. We were tippy tapping. We had a fight on the same night. It was when he fought Jeff Neal, and it was I fought Keenan Song. And Henry Hooft came over to me and goes, I understand you two are both competitors. I understand you both have a fight. He's like, both you're on the same team, go fucking light. He was like, I want you to just touch each other, keep active, give each other good looks, and make each other think. And we're sat there and we're playing around and we're moving each other. We were being good training partners. And I threw a right body kick at him. And he caught it. And he stepped back and he looked at me and he went, boom, to the fucking rib. I was like, you dirty little cunt. And I was like, you fucker. You just took the wind out my rib. I was like, all right, come on. Henry was like, stop it. Don't be fucking around, you two. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get you back. I'm going to get you back. It was playful. It was fun. But that's it. Like, that's it. When it comes to striking, I'm faster than him. I'm more technical than him. I'm more talented than him. Is he amazing? Is he fearless? Absolutely. But I know for a fact that this fight's on the feet, I'm the one with the advantage. When it comes to grappling, he absolutely had the grappling advantage over me when we trained. He was a far superior grappler. I say was. I've been doing a majority of work in Brazil focusing on becoming a far superior grappler. So the fight, to me, it's exciting. It's interesting. I know where he's good. He knows where I'm good. Let's go out there and have some fun and put on a show for the fans. And it's not often you see undefeated at this high of a level in the division. And the only way I see it being better is if he's the world champion and I can take his O when he's got the belt.
Is that a number one contender fight in your opinion?
I think it has to be. I would love 2 more fights before I fight for the belt. But if the opportunity to fight Shavkat is there, if the opportunity to go out there and take that O, finish him, dominate him, get my hand raised in any way, shape, or form, I think it has to be a number one contender spot then. I think it has to be the winner of that fight goes and fights for the belt next.
What interests you more, that or Colby?
I'm done with Colby. I'm done with him. He's in the rearview mirror. I think he's running scared and he's toxic, and I would much rather focus on someone like a Shavkat, someone who's going to show up and bring so much to the table. That's how I feel.
Okay, he commented on your fight as well. Did you see any of his comments, Colby's comments?
No. What did he say?
He said he wasn't impressed, and
says the guy who's like 0-3 in his last 3 fights. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. Come on.
So you're moving on.
Yeah, absolutely. He's behind me. He had his opportunity. He fucked up.
By the way, I'm colorblind, so this stuff doesn't really mean anything to me, but I saw people making a big deal about your purple shorts. You're bringing back the purple shorts. You're the first to wear. GC's telling me first to wear purple shorts. And then I saw Cage Warriors make a big deal. You're bringing... What's the purple shorts thing all about?
For me, it's my favorite color. It's that thing of like, when I was a kid, I I want to be different. I want people to remember me, and visuals are so important to people. That if you have something that captures the eye that's different to other people, they remember you. So I always said when I was growing up in Cage Warriors, I knew people would know my name after the body of work that I was going to go out and do. But for someone to sit there and go, oh, that kid with the purple shorts, do you remember him? And they'd be like, ah, yeah. And then I just found like every time I put them on, I just felt so good. That's my favorite color. I put on those shorts. I feel like a superhero, a Power Ranger vibes, like I'm suiting up for war. And then I go out there and I just have fun. It reminds me that I'm living the dream. I'm living the life I wanted to live, and I'm having the most fun. And that kid who dreamt of being a superstar and going out there and fighting the best guys in the world, I'm living up to everything that I said I would. So it was cool. I knew one day I'd get enough pull in the UFC to get the purple shorts. I got them, and I'm very, very happy, and they're staying now. And when I become a champion, they'll be purple and gold, the color of royalty.
I love it. By the way, speaking of having fun, you're a kid who grew up watching International Fight Week, watching Conor McGregor fight Chad Mendes. Did you have fun last week? Did you enjoy it? Las Vegas, summertime,
I did.
Featured fight. Did you take it all in?
I did. It's very dry and hot here. It's hard to do anything out the day. It's 40 degrees every day. But Ariel, I have so much connection with Vegas. I got married here. The day after we got married, we went and got my baby's first scan here. And it was just like all of these things add connection to come back to Vegas. I feel like it's a home away from home vibes. It's somewhere where I connect with. I love coming to. It always gets me excited for fights, and the energy that you embrace and you soak up in Vegas is very different. I said it recently. I would love to fight for a world title in Vegas. I would love to do it in the Allegiant Stadium, the Las Vegas Raiders Stadium. I think it's so beautiful, and I believe we'll be big enough at that point to be able to pull off a show that big. And it's the billboards. You go by and you see these massive electronic screens with Pereira's face on it, and it's just like, this is the place where if you want to come and be a main event, there's no better place in the world, I believe, than Vegas, because it's so sports orientated. It's so event orientated. People come in for a reason, they leave. They spend money, they party, they have fun, they come to these events, and they make memories here. So I absolutely love Vegas. I loved Fight Week. I loved the fact that I got my hand raised. I stayed undefeated, but that feeling is still there. I'm not going to be able to shake for a couple of months.
And speaking of a couple of months, how soon do you want to return? In a perfect world, if it was up to you, when would you fight again?
I fought another thing that's funny about me. I'm the second most active fighter in the UFC since I made my UFC debut. The only fighter that's fought more than me is Alexi Pereira, and he's fought one more time than me. So I've been super active. I want to take a little bit of time to get back to my wife and kids now. I said the first 6 months of the year I was going to fight. I fought my 2 fights. I want to give my kids now the opportunity to see friends, family, go back to Ireland, embrace the roots, go back and enjoy training and evolving. And I'd love to fight another fight towards the end of the year, November, December vibes. December, ideally, in Vegas.
Okay. I like that. Try not to be too hard on yourself. A great performance, a hard-earned win, a hard-fought win. I mean, you beat one of the best, in my opinion. I think the world of Michael Venom Page. I told you this. I was making the case for him last week when we spoke, and I thought that was very impressive. So well done to you.
I appreciate it. I know how talented he is. I know how locked in and focused I had to be this fight. And I went out there and got it done. And as you said, I'll be hard on myself because I expect nothing but greatness from myself.
Well done. Congrats, Ian. Thank you for the time. Enjoy the win, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate you, Errol. I'll see you soon.
All right, there he is. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You can get many more of these videos on the channel, so please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.